Morning, John.
Morning.
It's really good to see you after perhaps quite a long time.
Yeah, no, thanks. Also very good for me.
Yes, and our topic this morning that we're going to discuss is bargaining councils. And I think you are well aware of bargaining councils. I calculated this morning, 45 years involved in bargaining councils. And I would like to ask you a few questions this morning because things are not going very well currently with bargaining councils. And I would like us to dig a little bit and see where things are going wrong, or perhaps the focus of some of the delegates or the councils may not be still what it is supposed to be when all this started in 1924.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you.
Okay. John, the first thing I would like to know that you must consider this morning is, why have bargaining councils agreements failed?
Yeah, Van, and I think that there are a combination of reasons why the bargaining council agreements are not working as well as they did in the past. I think probably the primary reason, in my view, is a kind of one-size-fits-all approach, where the bargaining councils or the parties in the bargaining council try to reach an agreement on a minimum wage and working conditions which applies too broadly and too inflexibly across the industry. And unfortunately, very often, because of the makeup of the bargaining council, it's the deal which is satisfactory to the big employers and the big unions, but is not really viable for the smaller employers, but it's imposed on them by the stronger majority big employers. And when that happens, the smaller employers do everything they can to get out of the agreement by legal means and the like. So that's one of the key problems. I think another one is just the level of engagement in these bargaining councils. I think in the earlier days, the negotiators on behalf of the parties were more the captains of industry and the general secretaries and the very senior leadership of the unions. But for reasons that I'm not quite sure that I understand, the real leaders have been delegating their negotiation responsibility downwards, and so the people who are most impacted by the agreements are not actually at the table, and the people at the table are having to go back for mandates. So I think that is a problem. I also think that the bargaining councils are trying to do things that they're not suited to do. So, for example, it's bad enough that they might set unviable minima for certain portions of an industry, but in some cases they're even trying to set actuals and to set actual wages for a great number of companies in an industry that are in very different economic situations. Is unworkable. Yes. And those actuals are very often way too costly for some of the companies in the industry. And linked to that is a prohibition of any multi-tier bargaining. So what has happened in recent times is the bargaining councils have prohibited lower level bargaining, company level or sector level bargaining, not in all cases. But the consequence is that the agreements are too inflexible. They are one size fits all. And the way in which modern economies have moved is towards greater flexibility. And therefore, what the bargaining councils haven't been able to do is to adapt themselves to a far more flexible, multi-tiered way of bargaining. And just as I said that the people at the table are not the captains of industry and the leadership, because the agreements are at such a one-size-fits-all, such a high level, the agreements, I think, have tended to become disconnected from the people that they impact on at the coal face. So the average worker is so removed from the deal that is being negotiated away from the company at some centralized level. And likewise, the captains of industry, the CEOs, are not directly impacted by it. And so I think we've got to find a way. There are a great many benefits of bargaining councils, which I can come on to in due course, but we've got to find a way of getting the best out of the bargaining councils at a centralized level, but also allowing a sufficient degree of flexibility for them to accommodate the interests of individual companies, or at least individual subsectors and sectors, and individual workers. So in essence, that's what I would say are the key problems.
Yeah.